So sticking to the theme of internationalization of the Tibet issue, I would like to move on to the question of Taiwan-Tibet solidarity. And as I briefly mentioned in the introduction to this panel, one of the major institutional changes in managing the relationship between Taiwan and Tibet was the 2017 dissolution of the Mongolian and Tibetan Affairs Committee after 89 years of existence of this institution. So I would like to hear your thoughts about how this institutional change affected the Taiwanese government's ability and resolve to engage with issues that affect Tibetans and the Tibetan diaspora. And if I may, I would like to give the floor first to Pangxian to hear a Taiwanese perspective on this issue.
Okay, thank you, Marcin, for the question. And I think, like as an activist, we did participate a lot in the protests, like the campaign of the dissolve of the Mongolian Tibet Council, and but having that dissolved in the end of 2017 and till now, it's been like 4 years. I think that there has been a lot of development, and also like we've been kind of witnessing some pros and cons of this institutional changes. Just like you mentioned, like the council, it has been there for such a long time, and it kind of shaped, for a long time, it kind of shaped the relationship between Taiwan, like the Republic of China government in Taiwan, and also the Tibetan government in exile in India. And well, back then, I think like Sheila must be very aware of that. Like the Taiwanese government had a really bad reputation in the exile community, because they've been trying to undermine like the development of the Tibetan community in the diaspora. And also because like the government by the time, the KMT government by the time, they tried to kind of like maintain this the big China kind of discourse, so that they really want to keep Tibetans as a part of the bigger Chinese community. Well, and after the democratization, this is no longer this kind of discourse is no longer available to the Taiwanese people, and people really don't believe that. So like dissolving this council is really inevitable. But frankly speaking, I think after that there are still some like developments which I would really raise like some concerns about that, because as some of you might be aware of, like after the dissolving of the Mongolian Tibet Council, like the rest of the public servants who used to be under this institution was shifted into approximately 2 different government sector. One is under the Mainland Affairs Council, which we're not happy about. So it's like they have a new department specifically on Mongolia, Tibet, and Hong Kong and Macau, which is really awkward. Like just like this is like a really vague area that the Taiwanese government really don't want to talk about. And also the bigger part of the council moved to the Ministry of Culture. And this is good in some ways that we would be able to, like the Tibetan community here or the supporters here in Taiwan, able to have more like cultural exchanges with the exile community in India and also around the world. But the downside of it would be a lot of this kind of interactions, exchanges, or activities would be really limited on the cultural aspect. And I think that in the end, it will be a problem, because the Taiwanese government wouldn't be able to have further kind of communications, especially on the more political aspects, or on the human rights and freedom kind of aspects that which are really kind of like the common or shared value that we have here in the Taiwanese society and also in the Tibet exile community. I think this would really be a pity if the Taiwanese government wouldn't be able to, move forward from that, like from the cultural, the music, the dancing part of Tibet to a more meaningful, just like what Lishila has mentioned, like, what they've been insisting on, the true history and like revealing the truth inside Tibet, and also like supporting this universal value that all human beings should enjoy. I think this would be the biggest like common shared value that the two societies should kind of like having some more concrete exchanges on, and which is failed to fulfill at the moment under the current like structure of the government. Yeah, so I think this is one of the aspects that I see after the dissolve of the council.
Thank you very much, Pangxin, for this overview of institutional arrangements that are currently in place to facilitate closer relations between Tibet and Taiwan. And I, for one, certainly agree with your sentiment about fostering closer cultural cooperation between the two nations. As we know, governments come and go, but people are there to stay. And I believe that there's tremendous potential to be explored further in terms of people-to-people ties. Dr. Hashmi, Mr. Lekshay, would you like to add on to this topic, or shall we move on to the next question?
This commission was supposed to be a problematic commission for Tibetan diaspora over the years. So right from the beginning, Tibetan people tried to distance themselves from Taiwan because of this commission. Right after, in 2017, right after it was being dissolved, but when I was in Tibet Policy Institute, I heard about this resolution of this commission. Then we had the delegation. Function was also there. We met over there. Tibet Policy Institute delegation came to Taiwan, with the belief that we can have more understanding, exchange, and exchange of ideas. One thing is very important for Taiwan. See, we have a shared values. Taiwan and Tibetan diaspora, or the exiled Tibetan institution, we both cherish democratic values, freedom, equality, justice. We both cherish these values. And another very important significant factor is that we both have a same counterpart, that is China. So when we have a same counterpart, if we can collaborate on the equal footing, if we can initiate, coordinate, and exchange our views and then create an alliance, I think it will serve the purpose to tell China their own limitations, their own positions. So therefore, it is very important for us, both Tibetan and Taiwan, to stay together, be resolute in our own aspirations, and learn from each other, because we believe that Taiwan has more understanding on Chinese leaderships because of language, culture, and all these things. If we can get those parts from us, and we have our own understanding of living under China for 60 years, we can also give something to Taiwan so that they can also understand better about China. So if we can cherish together, I think it serves well. So therefore, for the Taiwanese friends, for young Taiwanese friends, I think since China is there right in front of Taiwan, the next target is obviously Taiwan. Tibet was already been occupied. We have suffered to the deepest, but we had the experience. So if we can help, letting Taiwan understand what China really is, and Taiwan can also help us sustain our values, as Pang Xiong rightly mentioned, the cross-cultural connections. The Tibetan Buddhist culture is being promoted, and as we understand that there are more and more Buddhist scholars are visiting Taiwan, So therefore, the commonalities are there. Our targets are also there. Counterparts may say what more we need to collaborate. Right. So therefore, I think the young Taiwanese, I believe that we both should work together. And after this resolutions of this Mongolian Tibetan Commission, I think we believe that that taboo which we had exist for years has gone, but and we don't have any baggage on our back, right, to shy away from this responsibility. Right. Therefore, it's a good opportunity for us. It's timely, and it will not just benefit Taiwan but also Tibetan. It's a mutual beneficial, right, to be friendly and create an alliance. Thank you.
Thank you very much for painting this very clear picture of positive synergies on which both Taiwan and Tibet should capitalize. Dr. Hashmi, do you have any comments to add?
Thank you, Marcin. And I would like to add that I feel what I've noticed is DPP is much more proactive towards Tibetan, as mentioned by other people as well, than KMT. And MTAC was disbanded by the DPP government only. But there have always been interactions between CTA and His Holiness Dalai Lama and the Taiwanese side. In fact, Dalai Lama, he has traveled to Taiwan 3 times. And China has always been sensitive about this increasing interaction between CTA and Taiwanese side. So in fact, in 1997, after Dalai Lama's visit, Chinese side reached out to the Dalai Lama side, the CTA, and they actually said that you have to, if you want negotiation, if you want dialogue between Tibet and China, you have to assure us and you have to accept that Tibet as well as Taiwan are part of China. But I believe that since the disbanding of the MTAC, there have been more interaction between DPP representatives and the CTA officials. And we've also seen that the presidential office spokesperson, Kolas Yotaka, she has been going to Dharamsala to seek teaching from His Holiness Dalai Lama. But I would say that despite that, the Tibet policy is kind of lacking in Taiwan at the government level. And there are several issues that could be dealt with when we talk about Tibetans in Taiwan. And there is one issue which I would like to talk about right now, is that the issue of the visa of the Tibetan students and professionals. So Taiwan actually doesn't give resident visa to Tibetans coming to Taiwan, and they can only come on visitors visa. And I think that if Taiwan really needs to start with something, they really need to start with at least giving them appropriate visa specifically for students. So I think they really have to start with the basics. But when I talk about activism on Tibet, I see much more activism in Taiwan than in India. There are many more, of course, there are a lot of organizations in India as well. But the level and the kind of activism I've seen in Taiwan, I think is in intensity, and the frequency is much more in Taiwan. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Hashmi. Just 2 points. I believe it's very interesting that you bring up Kolas Yotaka and her outspoken attitude on the Tibetan issue, given the fact that spokesperson Kolas Yotaka is one of the best-known political figures of indigenous descent in Taiwan, and therefore can clearly identify with her Tibetan audience, as her people also know the pain of living under settler colonialism. And on top of that, thank you for bringing this additional nuance to our discussion about bureaucratic burdens that negatively affect relations between Taiwan and Tibet. The visa issue is definitely something that merits more attention from those in power here in Taipei.